So the question is, do I still like the Ninja 650, and is it still one of my favorite bikes? Hi guys, just out riding around with hubby, and I couldn't think of a topic, and then it hit me. I've owned the 2017 Kawasaki Ninja 650 for a little over 2 years. Now I have done a mini review of the bike after owning it for 5 months, and I have done a 1-year review. So the question is, do I still like the Ninja 650, and is it still one of my favorite bikes? And if that gives you any indication, yeah, I do still love this bike. It is a fun, exciting, well-balanced, you could do anything with bike. It's a mid-weight bike, and I simply love it. It's very nimble and easy to handle, especially, and I've said this before, if you move up from a 300cc bike, this is, in my opinion, the perfect step up bike to move to. But I do still like it. Do I still have any beefs or any new beefs concerning this bike? Yeah, still have an issue that you can't adjust the dash. You know, I would really like to be able to adjust the contrast and the brightness of the dash so it would make it easier to see. But that's just something I'm gonna have to live with, because unless they do it and I buy a new one, I'm stuck with it. Let's see, any other beefs? Did have a slight beef with a little bit of vibration in the handlebars, which I talked about the solution in another video about numb hands. And since adding the little padded grips onto the original grips, I have no issues with that little vibration coming through on the handlebars. Let's see, what other kind of gripe did I have? In the beginning, it was a little stiff in the suspension. The goats are out. Free-range goats. Everybody's got free-range goats.
Jesus Christ. And they're running.
Yeah, it's like, don't run this way. Anyway, sorry, got distracted by free-range goats. I complained a little bit that the suspension was stiff and hard, and I think that was just due to, again, a lot of things on a bike have to break in.
That was just the front suspension, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, things have to break in, and I haven't done anything to it, and since I guess it's been broken in, I don't have an issue with that anymore. I actually find that to be adequate enough. Let's see, what other beefs did I have with this bike? I don't think I really had any other beefs with it. Still hard to find, excuse me, I'm dying here.
High pollen count.
I'm telling you, the high pollen count's going to kill me. My allergies will be crazy tomorrow. I find it still hard to find aftermarket accessories for this bike. Now, Kawasaki does sell a lot of accessories for their bikes, which is really cool. You can get an upgraded seat for this bike that I'm thinking of possibly getting in the fall and trying that out. It's a comfort seat. They do also on their website, you can get the DC power outlet which I have installed. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I do have an install video on that. But there's not much. Like, you know, I would really like a darker windscreen. Not black, but basically just tint it. And it's funny because if you go onto the Kawasaki European website, they sell one for this bike. But here in the States, nope, do not sell one. So I find that a little frustrating. And again, I mean, there is some aftermarket stuff, but, you know, I haven't found a lot, you know, because I like the look of the windscreen. You know, I'm not into bubbles. I don't like the bubble windscreen. Now, another option I could do that I have considered is just getting regular window tint, you know, that you would tint your car windows with, and putting that, buying another clear windscreen and putting that on there, so I would at least have a tint. And I might do that, and it might end up being a lot cheaper. The grass holes are out, babe. Did you see them?
Yep.
And that might end up being a lot cheaper in the long run than purchasing a new one. But overall, I have to say that this really has become my favorite bike out of all we own. And I think it's fun. It's so much fun in the curves. Now, we don't have twisties like they do up in the mountains. We have little curves, which could be a good thing for me in a way, because I could probably get in trouble if we live near the mountains. Big trouble. But anyway, it does do good on turns. I've had it leaned over pretty darn far. Didn't low side, thank God. But yeah, I don't know how many times I can say what a well-balanced bike this is for a sport bike. I mean, it is an awesome mid-weight sport bike. You know, you might ask, well, you know, could I take this bike on a trip? You could. If you know, put saddlebags on it, or, you know, a backpack or whatever, tied stuff down to the back. You could ride this bike across country. You can ride any bike across country if you're so inclined to.
So,
Not
what level of comfort you want to give up?
Yeah, I mean, there's two, and I can't remember their names, and oh, forgive me, you two, that I can't remember your names, that are YouTubers that actually rode Groms across country. I don't know if I'd ride a Grom across country, but they did, and again, sorry, I forgot your guy's name. And so, basically, that's proof that you can ride anything across country if you really want to. So, you know, I guess you could ride this, you know, across country. But again, it's a sport bike. It's not considered a super sport like a ZX6R or a ZX10R or ZX14R. It's a sport bike. It's a more upright riding position that's very comfortable. Not much pressure on your hands or anything. Now, people have mentioned that they find to have a little vibration or tingle in the seat. Yeah, it's there. Oh God, do not start, Bobby, do not start. There is, depending on where you put your rear end.
Or other parts.
Okay, you can stop that now. This time go slower. Anyway, if I slide my rear end back, you know, towards I get a tingle. I can feel the tingle on the cheeks of my derriere. But if I slide a little forward, I don't feel it. It's nothing that's a make or break deal for the purchase of this bike. Again, I said this before, a hubby has said this. It's a motorcycle. It's got an engine. There's going to be vibration. It's going to happen, and you're going to feel it. You know, I always kind of refer to the fact of, if you guys don't know, hubby's 2013 Harley Dyna Super Glide is, how can I put it? It'll rattle your teeth if they're a little loose.
It's such a nice rattle.
I mean, that thing will literally, I've been on the back of it and my eyes were shaking. So, I mean, there's vibration and then there's vibration. But again, you know, you're going to get vibration on a motorcycle. It's a motorcycle. So, hold on, let me negotiate this. You stay there. I'm having issues. So basically, I'm still in love with it. I love the dash on this bike. I love an analog tack. To me, that's just, you know, I like being able to watch the RPMs go up. You know, I don't like the digital, even though I know a lot more are moving to that direction. You know, I love the fact that it's got a clock, a shift indicator, miles per gallon, you know, the trip A, trip B. You know, now it doesn't have, which I wish it did, is some of the electronics that Kawasaki has on their bigger bikes. Again, I've stated before in my other reviews that you can wheelie this bike with not much effort. Trust me. I don't try to, and it does. You can. You know, the first time it did it, it scared the living shit out of me. Now I'm used to it, and it's not bothersome. Got the mailman bed. So I really do wish, though, that they had some electronics, and I think that would round this bike out to being a perfect mid-weight bike if they added things like traction control, anti-wheelie, and anti-stoppie. Now, I've never done a stoppie with this bike. I really don't intend to, on purpose or not. But those kind of things would really finish this bike off as being the perfect mid-weight bike.
But that drives the price up.
Yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't. It wouldn't bother to me to pay an extra $1,000. You know, if I could get that type of electronics. You know, in this bike, because of the fact of, I mean, it is a, you know, a low mid-range torque. You don't have to wind this up like you do the R3. You know, the torque is right there when you twist that throttle. And, you know, I just think that, I mean, I love that part. You know, I love the fact that you have your torque sitting right there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that torque also becomes something with traction control, like you say, the 6-axis, you know, making sure the bike doesn't wheelie, you know, and I think that's something that needs to be added, and I wouldn't mind paying a little extra just for that, because I think that would make it a perfect mid-weight bike at that point, where if you want to wheelie here, wheelie your ass off, but if this is your daily driver, then you can have the traction control, you know, if you're not wanting the bike to wheelie, right?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have the torque of an MT-07, but yeah, again, it's all what if Kawasaki thought that people would pay extra for that and be willing to, they would put it on.
Yeah, I just think that would make this, I mean, it is the right now the perfect, well-balanced mid-range sport bike. But I think adding those, or that, you know, one element of the 6-axis with the traction control and stoppie control would just make it extraordinary. I love this bike, and I'm going to own this bike for a long time.
When she gets tired of it, I'll ride it all the time.
So until next time, guys, you say it, babe.
Ride safe.
See ya.
Bye.